Chair and Ranking Member, for holding this hearing today on the dire water situation the state of California is currently facing. The drought conditions that the state has been battling for the past 3 years, in conjunction with an out-of-balance regulatory scheme, have severely inhibited virtually every aspect of life in the Northern California district I represent. What is most important to note is that drought is nothing new to California. We have experienced droughts such as this at regular intervals since the settling of the state, and it will surely occur again. However, what has recently developed is a regulatory drought that is stretching demands for this precious resource far beyond the capability of the supply. In 1992, the Congress enacted the Central Valley Project Improvement Act in an attempt to reconcile the many environmental needs of California's fish and wildlife species with the needs of California's Central Valley Project water users. I must point out that this is the first prolonged drought that we have experienced since the enactment of that law, and it is obviously showing some unsustainable weaknesses. It was recently announced that many CVP agricultural users would receive almost zero or even zero water, even as wildlife refuges would receive a majority of their usual allocation. This will result in the fallowing of many thousands of acres of agricultural land, much of which are permanent tree crops that would not recover. At the same time, the Federal Endangered Species Act is further intensifying this regulatory drought. In Tehama County, an ESA-based lawsuit has required that the Red Bluff Diversion Dam cease operating as an efficient gravity-fed diversion and would need to be replaced with a power-driven screen pumping plant to provide irrigation water to 150,000 acres of agriculture. These farmers are working diligently under an expedited time frame to construct this project before further litigation affects the dam's operation prior to completion of the pumping plant. In addition, this situation has resulted in the loss of Lake Red Bluff, created by the dam's operation, traditionally home to an annual boat race that has been an important economic driver for the city of Red Bluff. And of course, everyone remembers the 2001 irrigation shutoff in the Klamath Basin. Klamath project users remain subject to circumstances in which the ESA actually violates itself due to conflicting biological opinions for the needs of different fish species. Farmers in this region will likely still see their water deliveries delayed this spring despite a 100% snowpack. 100% snowpack, Madam Chair and members of the committee, is not a drought. But yet these farmers are still forced to struggle with restricted water supplies. Finally, I'd like to point out that these laws indirectly affect the water supply as well. For example, the ESA, NEPA, and our other federal environmental laws have effectively disrupted the management of our federal forests, resulting in a situation where these unnaturally dense stands place unprecedented demand on water consumption, affecting runoff and groundwater tables, in addition to increasing their susceptibility to disease, insects, and catastrophic wildfire. We simply must find a sustainable, balanced, and comprehensive solution to this water situation that will allow us to equitably meet the needs of all water users, humans and otherwise. New water storage must be part of the solution to enable all interests to get well together. Continuing down the same path we have been on for decades is not acceptable. Thank you again, Madam Chair and Ranking Member, for allowing me the opportunity to testify before you today, and I look forward to working with my colleagues to address this urgent situation.
Thank you, Mr. Herger. And we now have our last panel witness,